Hello! Today's tutorial is all about spring summer skin. Using our brand new Bare Basics in Peony, we launched two new versions, Peony and Rose. Rose being for a slightly deeper skin tone. I'm fair, so I'm going to use Peony. And I'm going to show you how to create 3 looks from just one palette. It has 3 brand new eyeshadows, cream highlight, powder bronzer, exclusive setting powder that you will only find in this palette despite the many requests to bring it out on its own, and a brand new cream blush which is divine. So let's get into the looks, starting with natural, which is number 1. We all have different variations when it comes to what our preference on skin is, but for natural, and for the sake of showing you, I suppose, the depth that comes with the palette, I've taken my ring finger into that cream highlight. This is so flattering on every single age group. It is age defying. It doesn't sit in any fine lines, areas that you're conscious of, but it also doesn't have glitter or anything too kind of sparkly and maybe not complimentary in it. So I'm tapping that into my Cupid's bow, the nose, tip of the cheekbone. You can also bring some of this underneath the brows, which is lovely as the weather gets a bit warmer. So I'm focusing on glow, and I'm going to bring blush into it also. You can use your finger or your brush when it comes to our cream blushes. The cream blush in our Bare Basics is almost like a cream to velvet. So for any oily skins that are conscious of I can't wear creams, firstly, I think you all can. But secondly, I think you'll feel super comfortable with this. It's got the most gorgeous peachy pink finish to it. Absolutely perfect for spring, summer. I'm going to sprinkle a little bit across my nose to get that sun-kissed look. So I'm leaving off bronze. I'm going to feature that in look 2, which is what we're calling our defined look. So this is for our natural. So think glowing, youthful, boosting complexion. We've loads of options when it comes to eyes, but for the sake of our natural look, I'm going to do a quick wash of that bronzer, nice and light, across the lid. I love bronzer on the eyes. I think there's nothing nicer than having the same tone that's across the cheeks and the eyes together, but also it's got a warmth to it. So it's going to actually be complementary on every eye colour, which is always nice. And you can see the highlight underneath the brow is coming through, so it's adding just a little bit of shade, but nothing too much. I'm going to take the shimmer colour here next, and I'm going to focus this primarily around my inner tear duct to brighten that inner corner. And we'll add a little bit more of that in our second look. But this is just to show you how to kind of pop all of the features. And like I said, we're going for bright, glowy. So that is cream highlight, blush, and the shimmer shadow, and a little bit of bronzer used on the cheeks. And I'm going to add some mascara, and then we'll get into look 2. Another thing that's a beloved compliment that we get on Bare Basics is the size of the mirror. So if you're someone who loves to do your makeup on the go, or maybe you're touching up somewhere and you don't want to be, or you can't maybe head into a bathroom, it's absolutely perfect. So a literal handbag hero, as I like to refer to it. So I'm using my mascara in Ultra Black, just lightly coating the lashes, but look at the difference in that volume. Rub your finger over the ends very lightly on the bottom if you need to capture any kind of excess that falls, but again, keeping it nice and light. And that is look 1. This is what we call our glowing look. Lovely look to take from day to day. Obviously you can add, take away as much as you want. We're going to go into look 2 next, which is called defined. So I'm going to chisel cheekbones, going to add a bit more definition to the eyes, and also go in with a liner. So I'm taking our powder duo. Fun fact, these 2 come as a bundle because we all know how important brushes are. You do not need loads of them. They're supposed to make your job easier, not overwhelm you. So multi-purpose is what we love to do. So I'm going to dip into that bronzer. Bear in mind, good quality products are often pigmented, so you don't need a lot. Brush off and start small. And I'm going to flex this right back to where my bone meets the ear, and I'm going to blend in towards my cheekbone, being careful not to lift and dip too much. So there's my bone the whole way, and I want to add a bit of structure to my hairline. I'm brushing away from the hairline, which is very important, so I'm not brushing back into my hair, but I do want to create a little bit of a shadow effect. If ever you apply too much, you think, oh God, that's a bit too dark, go back in with your foundation brush. There's always a way around it. So think of this in like your 3 or your W. Be very careful down here that you don't overdo it, because you don't want to create a line of a difference. But here is where we're going to see the most structure, and then I take the excess of my brush down the sides of the nose, nice and light. You can see the difference in definition this side versus this side. So So we have a nice structure. You can make this as pronounced or non-pronounced as you want, and then repeat on the opposite side. I'm going to take this medium shadow, which is a matte finish and the most beautiful spring summer shade. So it's got a lift in it. It picks up really nicely on the blush. It's still a neutral tone, but it's got a little bit more pink in it versus the bronzer. So it just adds a lovely dimension to the eyes to bring it out. So I'm shading this with my blender brush into the crease and the socket the whole way around, a little bit underneath the eyes. I'm not too worried about the careful precision or the blend on the bottom. Just come right in so you can see that. It just opens the eyes really nicely. And then we're going to add a liner. We have obviously included a deeper matte for definition. When you look up at this close, you'll see an ever so slight speckle in it. It's only there to make the color slightly lighter on, but it's a pure matte for definition. So I'm going to take my angle brush with this color and we're going to create a liner. So I'm going to go for my last lash and I'm going to flick that out. I have my brows done, so I'm aiming up towards the end there. I'm going to draw back in, just to give you an idea of how we're going to do this. I'm going to take more of that along my lash line to create that definition. Again, it's spring summer shades. It's not too dark. It's not going to close the eye. It's so complementary, but it also adds a lovely warm tone to wake the complexion up. And a little tip, right? If you're working with a shadow and you are maybe going somewhere and it's more of an occasion, you want to make it a stronger pigment. Take your Hydrate and Hold setting spray, spritz your brush, not the shadow itself. Make sure there's not too much on it. Dip your brush back into that and look at the difference. And you create almost like a liquid liner effect, but you still have the ease of it being a shadow. You're still using your brush. It sets in a couple of seconds, so you don't have anything to worry about in terms of it being too wet or falling or creating a line on the eye. One of the handiest tips, if you love the color of a shadow, if you're scared of kohl, scared of liquid, whatever it might be, to define the eyes. I'm going to take a little bit of that into my under third of the eye. So very specific. I find when you shade just the outer third, you get the hint of a definition without the drama of it being the full way across. So you have a little something there that draws attention to it without it being too scary. Now that my eyes are done, so I've literally just added the liner and the medium matte shadow through it. I'm going to take a little bit more blush this time with my finger again and tap it into the center just to increase the color. I've got my bronzer on already, my highlight is on, and I'm going to take that into my lips, but first I'm just going to line them. This is Naked Lip Duo. So taking that around the edges and diffuse it into the lip. I'm going to take this cream tint, one of my absolute favorite things to do, and diffuse that into the liner the whole way across. And there we have our defined look. Got a bit more structure, a liner with the shadow, so you can see how you can totally easily transition from our natural to our defined. And last but not least, we're into look 3, which is sultry. So I'm going to start with our eyeliner duo. So I mentioned earlier that the palette and our powder duo brush come in a bundle. We also have a bundle of our Bare Basics palette, your choice of Hydra Lip and your choice of eyeliner duo. So I'm going to use that eyeliner duo first. Using my mirror again as a guide, I'm taking the brown and nude and I'm taking that brown shade into my waterline. So it's going to mirror the shade that I used in terms of that deeper matte, but I'm taking it into the waterline to instantly add a little bit of sultriness and drama. Taking a smaller definer brush, I'm going to dip into that matte, tap my excess. Like I said earlier, pigments can be strong, which is great. And I'm going to shade that across my lash line. So the difference with this sultry look is I'm taking the deeper color and I'm exploring with it the whole way across. I'm going to tap away that liner, or the flick of it rather, because I want this to be a smokier effect that's a little bit more effortless and less defined like a liner. And I'm going to bring some underneath my eyes the whole way. So you're doing that same color as a 360. Let me tell you, this is one of the quickest things that you can do if you're going for late night work drinks, or maybe you're meeting friends for dinner, or you're going on date night, whatever it might be, and you don't have a whole pot of time to get ready. I'm going back into that medium color and I'm going to blend out of it. And I'm going to mix in a bit of the bronzer. So you can really see how the whole palette can be used for so much more than what you might think initially in terms of what the product functions are, like a bronzer. And you keep adding and intensifying that as much as you want. And I've used the brown liner duo to go with that and have some to smoke out. So look at the difference in the eyes. So we've got defined with liner, smoked all over. Even though we want to go sultry, I'm going to keep that shimmer in my inner tear duct just to brighten and open and add a little bit of sparkle, which is always nice. Going back to my powder duo brush, I'm going to go into this setting powder. You only need the tiniest amount and it literally airbrushes the skin. It's fine to be used underneath the eyes despite people's fear of kind of fine lines and it being a delicate area. And like I said, it literally gives a flawless finish. It like just totally airbrushes. There's magic in it. I'm going to go back to that cream blush, add a little bit more color again, and go back over my cream highlight. Exact same technique as before, just tapping it on the whole time to create that nice lifted look. And then go back in with my lip liner. I'm going to add some Hydra Lip on top, which is part of the bundle. So same color in Naked. I have my cream blush on my lips. I'm gonna add a little bit more of that. And then like I said, my chosen Hydra Lip color is often more than not blush. Just goes with everything. It's gonna add like a little glossy top to it, which is great. And there we have it. Look 3, which is sultry. 3 drastically different looks using one palette. This is Bare Basics and Peony. We also have Rose. They both have the exact same combinations in terms of shimmer, matte, cream blush, cream highlight, just different kind of tones. But I hope you enjoy and I hope you got some inspo from my looks. Thanks for watching.